Time to check in with San Diego County Sheriff Kelly Martinez, joining us this morning to talk about her office's stance on immigration enforcement and some other issues. Also celebrating a big milestone in her law enforcement career. We'll get into all of that. Thank you so much for joining us here, Sheriff. Sure appreciate your time here this morning.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the immigration issue. So we know recently supervisors voted to move forward with this policy that would prevent the county from using resources to assist federal immigration agents with deportations. Tell us a little bit about your stance regarding the county's decision here.
Yeah, well, you know, what's really important and what's come out of all of this is how our community feels about immigration enforcement. And it's important to understand that the Sheriff's Office does not enforce immigration. We don't ever ask immigration status of anyone, people who come into our jail or anybody that we contact in the field. That's a federal authority. It's not a local authority. So that's really the biggest piece. I think that SB 54, the state law, strikes the right balance between our communities and public safety. The individuals that ICE picks up from the jail are people who've been convicted of very serious crimes, things like rape, robbery, murder, drug trafficking. So I feel it's important to communicate with ICE when they're interested in those individuals, but we don't enforce immigration ourselves.
How many individuals has this impacted over the past year?
Well, and that's a great point. To keep it in perspective, we book about 50,000 people into our jails every year. Only 23 were released to ICE custody, and the year before last year it was 30. So it's really a small number of folks.
This policy allows ICE to request interviews with detained individuals, but with strict conditions, right? Can you talk about what all that is?
Yeah, so ICE will notify our facilities that they're interested in talking to an individual. We notify that individual and ask their consent to speak to ICE. It's done in their native language. They have to sign a consent form. They can say yes or they can say no. If they agree to that interview, then they're afforded an attorney during that interview. ICE comes in like any other professional visitor, a detective or anyone else. They can interview that individual. Then if they notify us that they're interested in knowing the release date of that individual, we check to make sure that person qualifies under state law, that they have that qualifying conviction, which are those crimes that I stated before. If they do, we let ICE know what the release date is, and we notify that individual that ICE has now been informed of their release date, and ICE can choose to come on that day and pick up the individual if they want to.
Let's talk about the county budget. The budgets have had impacts on hiring and freezes and everything. How is it impacting the county?
Yeah, I think the county's going to experience this, not as extreme as some other places, but the county is looking at their budget. We've been doing a lot of cost savings internally with the Sheriff's Office, you know, spending our money smarter. We're hiring more people, which is really the biggest impact we have. The vacancies for the Sheriff's Office, I have to fill with overtime. I can't not staff a patrol position, for instance. Community safety is too important. So that's where the expense comes for us, is paying overtime to fill those vacancies. But we're filling those vacancies now. We're staffing up. We're doing really well with hiring. So that will reduce our overtime. You
know, you seem to know the ins and outs of this county very well, probably because you have been doing this for 40 years. A major milestone in your career. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Take us back to those beginning days when you started as just a street deputy, right, in San Diego County?
Well, I was 1 month shy of my 22nd birthday when I started in 1985. Wow. I was waitressing at the time that I was hired, so I had no experience with this job. My dad happened to have been a police officer, but he didn't bring the job home much, so I didn't really know what he did. Women at the time all started in the women's jail, so I worked for a year there, and then they decided to have women work in one of the men's jails, so I was asked if I would work in one of the men's facilities. I did that and then work patrol and all that. I really had an interest in gangs and narcotics, so I did some of that work for a while. I worked our intelligence unit. I was a deputy for 22 years before promoting. And my career just kept going, and I never expected to run for sheriff or be in this position.
Looking back those 40 years, how has that helped shape your role as the first female sheriff of the agency?
Well, it was really interesting. When I campaigned on the fact of my experience, my qualifications. I had very extensive experience not only in policing in this area, keeping our communities safe, but our jails and everything else. So it's made a big difference having the institutional knowledge not only of this work in this industry, but also our organization has helped a lot.
Lots changed over those years, right?
Yeah, technology is the biggest change. I mean, body-worn cameras, who would have thought, you know, computerized report writing systems and things like
Weapons,
that.
everything.
Yeah, everything. Tasers, we didn't have any of that stuff.
I know Jeff Zevley did a great story with you, so if you want to learn more about that, make sure to check out his story. We do want to talk about the Sheriff's Office giving a lucky 5th grader the chance to be honorary sheriff for the day. You're going to step aside here, right, and let a 5th grader run the entire county.
I'm going to swear them in, and I'm going to put them in
walk
charge.
us through this program. This is really neat.
Yeah, so it's open to any 5th grader in the county.
Okay.
And you can go to our website and see the application. It just requires a 5 or 10 sentence paragraph from the kid to tell us what they think the sheriff should do or why they want to be sheriff for the day. They need their parents' permission to be able to do this. And then myself and some of my command staff will go to their school, swear them in as the honorary sheriff, and they'll get in the patrol car with me, and we'll spend the day together just kind of.
And they get the nickel tour of the Sheriff's Department, all the fun toys, everything a 5th grader would want to see.
Oh, absolutely. They'll see our canines, they'll see our helicopter, they'll come see my office, and what, we'll ask them what they'd like to see. And
I see what you're doing. You can never recruit too young, right?
That's right. We're starting them early.
All right, Sheriff, tell us how anyone can enter that contest if they're interested in doing that.
There's a QR code to the application on our webpage. Just go to the www.sdsheriff.net.
Awesome. Thank you, Sheriff, and congratulations on the 40 years. Thanks for chatting with us, and appreciate everything you do for the community.
Thank you so much.